Warcraft is a fantasy movie based upon the video game series of the same name. It was directed by Duncan Jones, known for his more cerebral and critically acclaimed works Moon and Source Code. Warcraft is by far his highest grossing film. In fact, Warcraft became the highest grossing movie that was based upon a video game. All that money, however, didn't prevent the overall negative reaction to the film, nor did it do anything to remove the stigma that video game movies tend to be really bad. Not that Warcraft is really bad or even a bad movie, but it is a very ho-hum affair, or, as some would joke, the best video game movie of all time. Not that that is a very high bar to clear, mind you. It also doesn't help that Warcraft has its fill of fantasy movie tropes. So without further ado, let's get into this movie and have some fun, which is something the movie is sorely lacking in. Alright, so first, let's see, there's some orcs, totally not like the ones in Lord of the Rings. I mean, they're huge in CGI as opposed to real actors and prosthetics. So yeah, totally different, even though some orcs are impacted by evil magic, which is totally not how the original orcs in Lord of the Rings were made. This evil magic is known as Fel, which is a great and completely not obvious name for dark magic. It's the sort of magic that you have to kill a living being in order for it to work. You know, real nice stuff. Anyways, the orc homeworld has basically been turned into a giant dust bowl, which has nothing to do with the use of fel magic, by the way. Absolutely nothing. So, ugly orc warlock guy, Gul'dan, creates this portal to bring some of the orc horde into a new land. Also, orcs have never been shown to be in hordes before in like 95% of their film portrayals. We meet Durotan, a non-magic infused orc who has his doubts about this whole fel magic thing, but he wants a good life for his wife and soon-to-be-born son. Now transported to this new lush green land, the orcs start doing what orcs do, killing indiscriminately. Except they also try to capture as many humans as well so that the portal can be activated again to bring through the rest of the horde. It is here that we also find that Durotan and many of his tribe do not want to participate in this butcher's work, as they prefer their foes to be carrying weapons. The humans in this new land, known as Azeroth, soon find out about these attacks, although they are unsure what exactly is attacking them. Anduin Lothar, the first cardboard character / actor we meet, who is also the commander of the Stormwind Kingdom, investigates an attack site where he finds a mage named Khadgar, who was examining the bodies because he believed they were attacked by fel magic, which has never appeared in Azeroth before. Because of this, Anduin takes Cardboard Khadgar to the place where the Guardian lives to inform him that fel magic is here on Azeroth. The Guardian is like a super archmage, by the way. Khadgar also takes a book from the massive library of the Guardian, which he was led to by a shadow. You would think someone would have more sense than to take a book like that, but hey, whatever. The Guardian joins Anduin and Khadgar, bringing along his magic and fellow cardboard acting skills. They follow the trail of fel magic, but are ambushed by orcs. The Guardian uses a spell that instantly kills all the fel-infested orcs. Durotan is also in this battle and is taken quite aback by all of the fel orcs dying instantly, which pretty much turns him completely against Gul'dan and his fel magic. There's also a half-orc slave, Garona, who is captured by the humans. And while Garona is also half-human, how this is the movie never explains, she is the only human actor whose acting doesn't feel the least bit forced. So great, all the CGI hulking orcs and the one half-orc feel more like real characters than any of the human characters do. Well, no wonder the humans suck at battling the orcs, they aren't even real characters! Garona ends up joining the humans in their fight to defeat Gul'dan, and Durotan finally realizes that fel magic was responsible for the destruction of his orc homeland. You don't say. Durotan then sets up a meeting with the super-duper cardboard king of Stormwind, but their meeting is unsurprisingly ambushed. The Guardian shows up eventually to prevent the humans from being overrun by creating a lightning wall, which separates Anduin from the orcs. Oh, and his son. By the way, the movie sets up a weak father-son dynamic that the only point was the foreseeable death of Anduin's son, so that Anduin now has nothing to live for and blah, 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 stuff and etc. The lightning wall, however, took so much out of the Guardian that he has to be taken back to his home, where he is laid in a pool of this magical energy or something. Basically, the Guardian, the most powerful wizard, or whatever you want to call him, is just a magic junkie who keeps needing his magic fountain fix. It's while the Guardian is bathing in his blue lightning kush that Khadgar notices that the Guardian's eyes shine green momentarily. While I would have thought that this was just some symptom of magic fountain withdrawal, Khadgar knows better because he learned in the book the Shadow led him to that the only way Gul'dan could have opened a portal to Azeroth was with help from someone in Azeroth. Khadgar now thinks that this help was in fact the Guardian. Khadgar goes to the group of mage overseers called the Kirin something or anothers and basically gets to talk with the Black Allspark from the Transformers movie. The Allspark, which manifests itself as an old woman and not Optimus Prime for whatever reason, tells Khadgar that the Guardian has been corrupted by fell magic and is possessed by a demon. Wait, how did this happen? It doesn't matter. Otherwise the movie would tell us, right? Anyways, back to the orcs. Durotan's people end up getting pretty much wiped out because of their turning against Gul'dan. Durotan's wife is able to get their son to safety by floating the baby down a river, Moses style, but she ends up being killed trying to protect her son. Durotan then challenges Gul'dan to a Mak'gora, which is an unarmed duel to the death for leadership. Durotan starts kicking butt, but then Gul'dan realizes he can't win, so he ends up using his magic to drain the life from Durotan, which violates the sacred rules of the Mak'gora, which makes the orcs turn against Gul'dan for like 5.2 seconds until he vaporizes a handful of orcs by using his magic, thus making Durotan's fight completely pointless to the narrative of the movie, and also proving that not only are orcs ugly warmongers, they are cowards to boot. The Guardian then decides to become Demon Guy, and he starts growing fungus on his face, thus opening the portal for the rest of the orc horde to come through to Azeroth. The king of Stormwind then leads an army in to the orc encampment to free the humans that have been captured because their life force is needed to open the portal completely. Anduin and Khadgar fight the Guardian, who, through the process, is mortally wounded, which somehow makes the Guardian no longer demon-possessed and corrupted by fell magic. Yeah, makes no sense to me either. The Guardian then uses the last of his strength to open a portal to Stormwind so that all the prisoners can escape. But then the Guardian dies, leaving Garona, the king, and a bunch of other CGI armored men to be butchered by the orcs. Except the king has a brilliant idea. Now, all the humans are still going to die. But in the 5 minutes the king has interacted with Garona in this movie, he trusts her enough for her to follow along with his outlandish plan. The king tells Garona to kill him. The honor of his death will propel her to a leadership position within the orcs, and she can position herself to oust Gul'dan and bring peace between humans and orcs. While this is actually a brilliant idea, the movie handles it in a way that shows a complete lack of unthinking. First, Garona has been treated only as a slave by the orcs, and is looked at with disgust by being half human, even if the killing of the king brings great honor to Garona. This doesn't automatically mean that the orcs will follow her when the time comes. The other important part is that the only other person who knows about this plan is the king, and he's dead. So when Anduin comes to rescue the king, he understandably thinks that Garona betrayed them. The movie ends with the burial of the king and the humans and all their allies rallying together to destroy the orcs. So even if Garona eventually gets leadership of the orcs and sues for peace, will the humans and their allies even take the time to consider the offer? They feel that she has betrayed them once. Why would they put themselves in that situation again? They probably won't, as Anduin has become the leader of the unified group known as the Alliance. But that doesn't matter, because we end on seeing Durotan's friend, Ogrim Doomhammer, remove one of Durotan's tusks to give to Durotan's son. We're thus reminded of Durotan's meaningless sacrifice, unless of course it plays into the sequel. And we will probably get one, as Warhammer went gangbusters in China. Thanks again, China. First Transformers 4, now this. Why can't you go crazy over an actually good movie? Not that Warcraft is without merit. It's actually a tolerable movie, which is something virtually all other video game movies can't say. That, however, does not mean that Warcraft is a good movie. While I can tell a lot of effort was put into this movie, and it did come across at points. The special effects were good, and I thoroughly enjoyed all of the orc characters with their good voice acting and motion capture, but everything else about the movie felt fake. The places were CGI, the armor was CGI, the actors we actually saw felt like they were reading lines from a page, and I absolutely didn't care about a single one of the characters. Even the orcs I found to be ultimately bland and uninspired. Warcraft is a feast for the eyes, but it isn't much more than that. Yet another movie that has fallen in love with an overuse of CGI for storytelling. Kinda like Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Just mercifully without Hayden Christensen. I do have to admit, at least Warcraft got that right. If I want to watch a cliched, overfilled cast, stiffly acted, strange premised fantasy movie, I'll watch one that feels infinitely more real, even if the special effects are nowhere close to par with what Warcraft pulled off. Perhaps a good movie can be made from the ashes of Warcraft's overhype, but I wouldn't hold my breath. With the curse of the video game movie still in effect, it seems unlikely that whatever tinkering Blizzard hopes to do in the future will fail until their stories develop a little more depth, gravitas, and down-to-earth realism. Anyways, those are my thoughts on the movie some people claim would be the next Lord of the Rings. I assume they said these things by accident, or they hit their head really, really, really hard earlier that day. Go ahead. Let me know in the comments what you thought about the movie. If you really did enjoy it, what did you like? I am really intrigued to hear from you. Anyways, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember, what we create matters.